There is a simple truth that most people won't tell you. Motivation doesn't show up every day. Some days you won't feel like working. Some days you'll want to hit snooze and avoid the grind. You'll feel tired, distracted, or just flat out uninspired. But here's the catch. Success doesn't come to those who only work when they feel like it. It comes to those who choose to show up, even when they don't want to. This is where real progress begins. When you force yourself to work despite the resistance, that's when you build character. That's when you learn discipline. And that's when you make real strides toward the life you want. In this video, we're diving into the power of pushing through those moments of doubt, discomfort, and laziness. We'll talk about why it's essential to keep going when your mind tells you to stop, and how these moments shape the person you become. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm not here to give you the easy way out. I'm here to give you the tools you need to fight through resistance, get things done, and ultimately change your life for the better. You'll learn why working through the hard times can be your greatest advantage, and how you can build the habit of pushing forward no matter how you feel. Stick with me. By the end, you'll have the motivation, and more importantly, the discipline to keep going even when you'd rather quit. Why waiting for motivation keeps you stuck, and how to take control. Most people wake up every morning and ask themselves the wrong question. Do I feel like working today? And when the answer is no, they do nothing. They wait. They wait for motivation. They wait to feel inspired. They wait until the stars align and the perfect moment arrives. But that moment never comes. This is the trap that keeps people stuck for years, sometimes a lifetime. Because here's the truth. Your feelings are unreliable. Some days you'll wake up energized and ready to go. Other days you'll feel tired, discouraged, or just not in the mood. But if you let those feelings dictate your actions, you'll never make progress. Because success doesn't wait for your emotions to cooperate. Success belongs to those who act despite how they feel. Think about the most successful people you know. Are they successful because they feel motivated every day? No. They are successful because they have trained themselves to do what needs to be done, regardless of their mood. They have learned that success is not about waiting for motivation. It's about creating habits that override emotions. Imagine a farmer. A farmer doesn't wake up and ask, do I feel like planting today? No, he plants because the season demands it. He knows that if he waits for the perfect day, the harvest will never come. And the same applies to your work, your goals, and your dreams. You can't afford to wait. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but what if I really don't feel like it? What if I'm exhausted? What if I'm unmotivated? Here's the secret. You don't need to feel like it. You just need to start. Because action creates momentum, and momentum creates motivation, not the other way around. Think about the last time you forced yourself to start something, even when you didn't feel like it. Maybe it was going to the gym, writing that report, or making that phone call. What happened? Once you got started, it wasn't as bad as you thought. That's because motion beats emotion. The hardest part is always the first step. Most people never take that step. They give in to the voice in their head that says, just do it later, you'll feel more motivated tomorrow. But tomorrow turns into next week, next month, next year, and suddenly, they've wasted their best opportunities waiting for a feeling that never came. So how do you break free from this cycle? How do you train yourself to work even when you don't feel like it? You make a decision right now. You decide that from this moment forward, your feelings are no longer the boss. Your goals are. Your commitments are. This means when your alarm goes off in the morning, you don't negotiate with yourself. You don't ask, do I feel like getting up? You get up, because that's what a committed person does. When it's time to work, you don't hesitate. You don't wait for motivation to hit. You act. The first few times it will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will resist. It will try to pull you back into old habits. But the more you push through, the stronger you become. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the easier it gets. One day, something incredible will happen. You won't even think about feelings anymore. You'll simply do the work because it's part of who you are. And that's when success becomes inevitable. So today I challenge you, stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting to feel motivated. Take control, take action, because the life you want is waiting for you. But only if you have the discipline to chase it. The key difference between those who succeed and those who don't. Most people believe that motivation is the secret to success. They think successful people wake up every day feeling inspired, full of energy, and eager to tackle their goals. But that's a lie. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. One day you feel unstoppable. The next day you don't even want to get out of bed. And that's where most people fail. They rely on motivation to push them forward, but when it disappears, they stop. They hit snooze, they procrastinate, they say, "I'll do it later." But later turns into never. This is why so many people set goals year after year and never reach them. They're waiting for motivation to show up. Now let me ask you a question. Have you ever started a new habit with excitement, only to quit a few weeks later? Maybe it was going to the gym, reading more books, or waking up early. At first, it felt easy. You were motivated. But then one day, you didn't feel like doing it. And that one day turned into 2, then 3, and soon you were right back where you started. Why does this happen? Because motivation is a terrible foundation for success. The people who succeed don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. The difference between motivation and discipline. Motivation is emotional. It's based on how you feel in the moment. If you're excited, you take action. If you're tired or discouraged, you don't. That's why motivation is unreliable. It's like a roller coaster, up and down, unpredictable. Discipline, on the other hand, is a choice. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't matter if you're tired, busy, or unmotivated. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't want to. Think about professional athletes. Do you think they always feel like training? Do you think they always feel excited to push their bodies to the limit? Of course not. But they do it anyway, not because they feel like it, but because they have built the discipline to show up, no matter what. How to build discipline and stop depending on motivation. The first step to building discipline is simple. Stop waiting to feel like it. Most people waste their lives waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect mood, the perfect conditions. But those never come. The only way to succeed is to act first, then let your feelings catch up. Think about this. Have you ever dreaded going to the gym, but once you started, you felt great? That's because action creates emotion, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel motivated. You take action and motivation follows. So here's a strategy that will change your life. The 5-minute rule. Whenever you don't feel like working, tell yourself, "I'll do just 5 minutes." That's it. Just 5 minutes of writing, 5 minutes of exercise, 5 minutes of studying. And guess what happens? Once you start, you usually keep going. The hardest part is getting started. The next step is to create non-negotiable habits. Successful people don't decide every day whether they will work out, read, or hustle. They make it automatic. Just like brushing your teeth, discipline should become second nature. You don't think about it. You just do it. Why most people never build discipline? The truth is, most people avoid discipline because it's uncomfortable. It's much easier to stay in bed than to get up and work. It's easier to watch TV than to study. It's easier to put things off than to push through. And that's why most people never achieve their goals. They choose comfort over progress. But here's the secret. Discomfort is where growth happens. Every time you push through resistance, you become stronger. Every time you show up despite how you feel, you build mental toughness. And over time, something incredible happens. You stop seeing discipline as suffering. You start seeing it as freedom. Discipline equals freedom. At first, discipline feels restrictive. It feels like you're forcing yourself to do things you don't want to do. But over time, It becomes the very thing that sets you free. Think about money. If you have no financial discipline, you'll always be broke. You'll spend impulsively, rely on credit cards, and struggle with debt. But if you have discipline, if you budget, save, and invest, eventually you gain financial freedom. The same goes for your health. If you lack discipline, you'll eat junk food, skip workouts, and struggle with your energy levels. But if you have discipline, you'll stay fit, feel strong, and live a longer, healthier life. In every area of life, discipline creates freedom. And once you understand this, everything changes. From this moment forward, I want you to make a commitment. Stop relying on motivation. Stop waiting to feel like it. Instead, choose discipline. Choose to show up. Choose to do the work, no matter what. Because at the end of the day, success isn't about how you feel. It's about what you do. So when you wake up tomorrow morning and that little voice in your head says, "I don't feel like it today," you know what to do. Ignore it. Get up, get to work. Because that's what winners do. How consistency creates unstoppable momentum. Most people think success is about doing something big, something extraordinary all at once. They believe that one great effort, one burst of motivation will change their life. But that's not how success works. Success is not about intensity. It's about consistency. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple. The ones who succeed show up every single day, no matter what. They don't just work when they feel inspired. They work when they're tired, when they're bored, when they're unmotivated. Because they understand something most people don't. Momentum is built by showing up, again and again, without excuse. Why most people fail? The inconsistency trap. Look around and you'll see it everywhere. People who start something with excitement, but quit when the feeling fades. They begin a new diet, and after 2 weeks, they give up. They set a goal to wake up early, but after a few days, they hit snooze. They commit to learning a new skill, but when progress feels slow, they stop. And then they wonder why nothing changes in their life. It's because they never stay long enough to see results. Think about this. If you go to the gym once a month and lift weights for 3 hours, will you get stronger? No. But if you go every day for 30 minutes, even when you don't feel like it, you'll see progress. Consistency beats intensity every time. The compound effect, small actions, big results. Imagine 2 people start reading books. One reads for 10 minutes every day. The other reads for an hour, but only once a month. Who do you think will learn more? It's the one who reads for 10 minutes a day. Because success is about small actions, repeated over time. This is called the compound effect. The idea that tiny daily improvements add up to massive results over time. It's the reason why people who commit to just 1% improvement every day end up far ahead of those who do nothing for months and then try to make up for it with one big effort. Let's break it down. If you improve just 1% a day, you won't feel different at first. After a month, it still won't seem like much. But after a year, that's a 37x improvement. And after 5 years, you'll be unrecognizable. This is the power of showing up, how to build the habit of showing up. Now, I know what you're thinking. I get it, but how do I actually do it? How do I stay consistent when I don't feel like it? Here's the secret. Make it easy to win. Most people fail because they set goals that are too big, too soon. They say, I'll work out for an hour every day, but after 3 days, they're exhausted. Instead, start small. The 2-minute rule. If you want to start reading, read 1 page a day. If you want to start exercising, do 1 push-up a day. If you want to start writing, write 1 sentence a day. Why? Because the hardest part is starting. Once you start, you usually keep going. You don't just read 1 page, you read 10. You don't do 1 push-up, you do 20. But by making the commitment small, you remove the resistance, the mindset shift. Focus on the process, not the outcome. Most people focus too much on results. They say, I'll be happy when I lose 20 pounds, or I'll be proud of myself when I make 6 figures. But that's the wrong approach. Instead, fall in love with the process. Don't focus on losing 20 pounds. Focus on being the type of person who eats healthy every day. Don't focus on making 6 figures. Focus on being the type of person who works hard and improves daily. Don't focus on writing a book. Focus on being the type of person who writes every day. Because when you focus on the process, the results take care of themselves. The power of never breaking the chain. One of the best ways to stay consistent is to use the never break the chain method. This is how it works. 1, get a calendar. 2, every day you take action. Mark an X. 3, keep the chain going as long as possible. Once you see a streak building, you won't want to break it. Even on tough days, you'll push through because you won't want to lose your momentum. Why most people quit too soon. Most people give up because they expect instant results. They go to the gym for a week and don't see a difference. They start a business and don't make money right away, so they quit. But real progress is invisible at first. It's like boiling water. If you heat it to 211 degrees, nothing happens. But at 212 degrees, it turns to steam. That 1 extra degree makes all the difference. Success works the same way. You might not see results right away, but every day you show up, you're building momentum. And one day, that momentum will explode. Final challenge. Commit to showing up. Here's your challenge. For the next 30 days, show up every single day. Pick one thing: exercise, learning, building a skill, whatever matters to you. Start small. Even 5 minutes counts. Don't break the chain. Because when you make showing up a habit, success becomes inevitable. So when you wake up tomorrow and feel like skipping, remember this: the difference between success and failure is simple. Winners show up. Losers don't. Which one will you be? Overcoming laziness, doubt, and excuses. The greatest challenge you will ever face is not outside of you. It's not the economy, the government, or your competition. The real battle is inside your mind. It's the constant internal struggle with yourself. The resistance you feel when you know you should be working, but you just don't feel like it. The battle against laziness, doubt, and excuses is relentless. But the key to success lies in your ability to win this battle day in and day out. You see, laziness doesn't ruin your life all at once. It creeps in quietly like a slow poison. It's the little things. Skipping just one task, putting off one important call, allowing yourself to rest when you should be working. Laziness is a silent killer of progress. The more you let it win, the harder it is to break free. And before you know it, you've wasted weeks, months, or even years, all because you couldn't push through in those moments of weakness. And then there's doubt. The enemy that tells you you're not good enough, not capable enough, not ready. Doubt makes you second-guess yourself, even when you know what you need to do. The funny thing is, doubt never has any real power unless you let it. It whispers in your ear, trying to convince you that you can't achieve what you want. But the truth is, doubt is a liar. It feeds on fear. The more you listen to it, the more it grows. But the moment you take action, despite the doubt, you rob it of its power. You've probably heard the saying, excuses are the nails that build the house of failure. It's true. Excuses are the crutch that keeps you from moving forward. I'm too tired today, you say. I'll start tomorrow, you think. But here's the harsh truth. Tomorrow never comes. Every excuse you make is another step away from your goals, another reason to stay exactly where you are. The most successful people don't make excuses, they make commitments. They understand that excuses only hold them back. And no one can afford to be held back if they want to reach their full potential. The hardest part is when all of these negative forces combine. When doubt and laziness join forces, and you throw in the perfect excuse, that's when your dreams feel the farthest away. That's when most people give up. They wait for the right moment, the right feeling, or the right opportunity. But here's the thing, the right moment is now. If you're waiting for the perfect time, you'll never start. The time to act is always today. In the face of resistance, in the face of discomfort. This is where the real secret to success lies. The willingness to show up, even when you don't want to. It's not about motivation. Motivation is unreliable. One day you feel like conquering the world, and the next you're struggling just to get out of bed. Motivation comes and goes. It's like the weather. Unpredictable. But discipline is something you can control. Discipline is the ability to push through the discomfort, to keep working even when you feel like quitting. If you want to win this battle, you need to make a decision. Your feelings don't control you. You decide when to act, not your emotions. When you decide to take control over your actions, you change the game entirely. This is the power of discipline. It doesn't matter if you're tired, frustrated, or uncertain. Discipline means showing up anyway. It means doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel in the moment. The more you do this, the less power your feelings will have over you. But how do you break free from the habit of making excuses and giving into laziness? It starts with awareness. You have to start recognizing the excuses as they come. When you hear yourself say, "I'll do it tomorrow," catch it. When you feel the urge to skip a task because it feels too difficult, challenge yourself to do it anyway. Every time you break the pattern of laziness or doubt, you get stronger. And the more you do this, the easier it becomes. The key is to start small. Even on your toughest days, if you can force yourself to do just one thing, one small action, you've already won a battle. You'll be tempted to take shortcuts. You'll convince yourself that missing one day won't hurt. But that's where the trap lies. One missed day turns into two. Two turns into a week. Before you know it, you've fallen back into old habits, and the momentum you had built is gone. The trick is to never let yourself off the hook. Even if it's a small step forward, you must take it. And the more you force yourself to take that step, the more natural it becomes. Every time you show up, you build mental toughness. Every time you push through the discomfort, you become more resilient. This is how you develop the strength to keep going, even when it feels impossible. It's like lifting weights. At first, it's hard, but over time, the weight feels lighter. Your ability to overcome doubt, laziness, and excuses strengthens every day. And the more you do it, the less you'll hear those voices trying to hold you back. Here's the truth: the battle is never won in one moment. It's won in the little decisions you make every day. It's won in the small acts of discipline. The more you win these battles, the stronger you become. And the more you show up, the more momentum you create. One day you'll look back and realize how far you've come. All because you decided to keep going when everything inside of you told you to stop. Remember, the moment you decide to push past your doubt, your laziness, and your excuses, you set yourself apart from the crowd. Most people will never do this. Most people will give up when it gets tough. But not you. You're stronger than that. And every day that you choose to show up, you build the future you've always dreamed of. So when that inner voice tells you to quit, remind yourself, I'm in control. I am stronger than my excuses. I am more powerful than my doubts. And today, I choose to show up. Because when you win this inner battle, nothing can stop you. Why? Doing the little things every day leads to massive success. Most people think that success comes from a single big break or some extraordinary moment. We are often conditioned to believe that success is achieved through grand gestures or major life-changing decisions. But the reality is far from that. Success isn't built on one big event. It's built on a series of small, consistent actions taken over time. Imagine this: you wake up one morning, feeling tired and perhaps a little sluggish. You know you have a list of things to do, but the bed feels so comfortable. The last thing you want is to get up and face the grind of another busy day. But here's where most people falter. They wait for the spark of motivation to come. They want to feel energized, inspired, and ready to conquer the world before they take action. And they think, I'll work hard when I feel like it. But here's the catch. That day might never come. Small actions done consistently over time are what separate those who achieve success from those who remain stuck in the same place year after year. Success isn't about the occasional burst of motivation. It's about the daily, often mundane tasks that compound over time to create something extraordinary. It's the habit of showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's about pushing yourself to take action, even when it's easier to do nothing. Most people underestimate the power of the little things. A single action on its own might seem insignificant. But much like the force of water slowly eroding rock, small actions build upon one another, creating momentum that eventually leads to massive results. Think about reading 10 pages a day. Alone, that's hardly impressive. But over the course of a year, those 10 pages add up to 3,650 pages. That's about 12 full-sized books. If you do that year after year, you'll not only read dozens of books, but also absorb a wealth of knowledge and insight that most people will never take the time to gain. Similarly, consider a small daily savings habit, putting aside just $5 a day. Alone, that's not a lot. But in a year, you'll have saved $1,800. In 10 years, that's $18,000. Small contributions over time can lead to big financial outcomes. Most people never see this because they want immediate results. They want to see the rewards right away. But when you focus on the small actions and trust in the compounding effect, you begin to understand that success is the sum of tiny, daily actions that grow into something far greater. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they expect instant results. When the rewards don't come fast enough, they abandon their efforts. They want the payoff, but they don't want to put in the work. This is why so many people fail before they ever have a chance to succeed. They quit too soon. They don't realize that it's the small wins, the little habits, that lead to the big results. It's like planting a seed. You plant it, you water it, and you wait. For a while, nothing happens. You see no signs of life. But that doesn't mean the seed isn't growing. It's underground, slowly putting down roots, building a foundation. Eventually, if you stick with it, a sprout emerges, then a stem, and eventually a full-fledged plant. The success you're building, piece by piece, is no different. The growth might not be visible at first, but it's happening. And the more consistent you are, the faster and stronger that growth becomes. If you want to change your life, don't wait for a grand transformation. Start small. Do something every day that moves you closer to your goals, no matter how tiny it seems. It could be as simple as writing a single paragraph for a book you want to write, or as easy as taking a 10-minute walk. The goal isn't to achieve everything at once. It's to make incremental progress. Progress, no matter how small, is progress. Think of consistency as the key that unlocks the door to success. Each day you make a choice to do something, anything, to improve yourself. That choice might seem small in the moment, but after a few weeks you'll look back and realize how much you've done. This is the power of momentum. Success is never a straight line. It's a series of zigzags, sometimes slow, sometimes fast. But over time, as long as you keep showing up, the momentum will carry you to places you never thought possible. However, the most important aspect of this process is the commitment to showing up day after day, even when it's hard. There will be days when you don't feel like working, days when you'd rather stay in bed or binge watch TV or scroll through social media. But you can't rely on motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. What you need to rely on is discipline, the decision to show up no matter how you feel, the decision to do what needs to be done even if you don't feel like it. It's easy to wait for inspiration, but the truth is that inspiration only comes once you've done the work. If you wait for motivation to strike before you act, you'll spend most of your life waiting. The key is to get started first, and then let the motivation follow. The process of taking action itself fuels the inspiration you need to keep going. In fact, most successful people didn't achieve greatness overnight. They didn't have one breakthrough moment. They were consistent. They kept doing the little things, day after day, even when no one was watching, even when it felt like nothing was happening. And that, in itself, is the secret. The small things you do every day may not seem like much, but they add up to something extraordinary. So, as you look at your own life, ask yourself this: what small action can I take today? It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be big. It just needs to be something. Start small and keep going. Because every little thing you do, no matter how insignificant it seems, brings you closer to your goals. It's in these small, everyday actions that true success is born. How struggle shapes you into a stronger, more disciplined person. We all face struggles. We all encounter moments when everything seems like it's against us. Whether it's a difficult task, an obstacle in our personal lives, or an overwhelming goal that feels too far out of reach, we've all experienced resistance. But here's the truth. Struggle isn't something to avoid. It's something to embrace. Struggle in all its forms has the power to shape us, mold us, and transform us into stronger, more disciplined individuals. Think about the process of forging a sword. It starts as raw metal, dull and unshaped. But to become something valuable, it must endure immense heat, intense pressure, and constant hammering. The metal doesn't stay the same after all that struggle. It becomes harder, sharper, and more durable. The same can be said for us. The struggles we face are the fires that forge us. They are the pressures that shape us into who we need to be. When you face resistance, whether in your work or your personal growth, it can feel uncomfortable. And that discomfort can make you want to quit. The pain of pushing through the hard times can be overwhelming. But if you want to grow, if you want to achieve your goals, you can't avoid the struggle. You have to push through it. It's easy to want to take the easy way out, to avoid the discomfort. But nothing great ever comes from avoiding pain. You can't grow without it. You can't become stronger without enduring the tough times. There's a common misconception that successful people don't face struggle. People think that those who have made it have it easy, but the truth is, success is built on the foundation of overcoming struggle. Every person who has achieved something meaningful has faced moments when they didn't want to continue. Every successful person has had to push through to keep going when it seemed easier to quit. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is that successful people don't back down in the face of struggle. They push through. You may think that when you encounter a setback, it's a sign to stop. But setbacks are simply the universe's way of testing your resolve. Struggle is a part of the process. The more you struggle, the more you learn, the more you grow. It's through the hard times that you develop the resilience and strength you need to achieve greatness. Every struggle you face is an opportunity to become more disciplined, more focused, and more committed to your goals. In moments of struggle, it's easy to get caught up in the emotion of the situation. Your mind might tell you that you're not good enough, that it's too hard, that you should quit and try something else. These thoughts are natural, but they're also dangerous. If you listen to them, you'll never achieve anything great. Instead, you must push through the discomfort. You have to acknowledge the struggle, but you cannot allow it to dictate your actions. You must decide in that moment to keep going. The only way to break through the struggle is to keep moving forward, even when it's the hardest thing to do. Every time you push through a struggle, you gain strength. Every time you face an obstacle and keep going, you become more resilient. And resilience is the key to discipline. It's the ability to keep going, no matter how difficult the journey becomes. Without struggle, there is no resilience. Without resilience, there is no discipline. And without discipline, there is no success. The key is to see struggle as a teacher. It may not be comfortable, but it's teaching you valuable lessons. It's teaching you how to persevere, how to keep going, even when the path is unclear. It's teaching you how to stay focused on your goals, even when distractions and difficulties arise. Every struggle you face is an opportunity to build character. And character is what will carry you through the tough times, both now and in the future. When you push through, you also build momentum. Think about a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's small and insignificant, but as it rolls, it picks up speed, and with every turn, it gathers more snow, growing larger and more powerful. The same happens when you push through your struggles. Every action you take in the face of adversity builds momentum. And once you have that momentum, there's no stopping you. You'll be able to move through challenges with greater ease because you've already built the strength to overcome them. But momentum isn't built by avoiding struggle. It's built by embracing it. It's built by pushing through when you don't feel like it, when it's easier to give up. It's built by showing up every day, even when it feels like you're not making progress. It's the small, consistent actions you take, even in the face of difficulty, that will lead to big results. You might be facing a struggle right now, It might feel overwhelming, it might feel like too much, but remember this: the more you struggle, the more you grow. The harder it is, the stronger you become. The key is to keep going. Don't let the struggle stop you. Use it as fuel. Let it build you into the person you need to become. Because on the other side of this struggle is success. On the other side is everything you've worked for. You are capable of pushing through. You are capable of overcoming. And in the process, you will become a stronger, more disciplined person than you ever thought possible. So, the next time you face resistance, don't turn away. Don't run from the discomfort. Embrace it. Push through it. And watch as you transform not only your circumstances, but your character, your mindset, and your future. Struggle is the furnace in which you will be forged. Don't waste it. Use it to become the strongest version of yourself. Building an identity of discipline and success. Success is not just about what you do, it's about who you become. It's about the person you are shaping yourself into every single day. We often focus on the tasks, the goals, and the external achievements we want to reach. But the real secret to success is in the transformation of our character, our mindset, and our habits. It's about becoming the kind of person who does the work, no matter how they feel, no matter the obstacles in their way, and no matter what life throws at them. You see, discipline isn't just something you do, it's who you become. The most successful people don't see discipline as something they have to work at. It's not something they have to force themselves to do. It's part of their identity. Discipline is a reflection of who they are. They don't wake up and ask themselves if they feel like doing the work. They just do it because that's who they are. They've built a life where discipline is as natural as breathing. Building that kind of identity doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. It's a series of small decisions made every single day, in every moment and in every circumstance. It's choosing to work when you don't feel like it. It's deciding to show up when no one is watching. It's choosing to keep going even when things get tough. Over time, these small decisions compound, and before you know it, you become someone who does the work no matter what. It starts with a decision. You have to decide who you want to be. Do you want to be the person who dreams big but never takes action? Or do you want to be the person who consistently shows up and does the work, regardless of how they feel? You see, success isn't about having the best ideas or the best intentions. It's about having the discipline to show up and do the work even when you don't feel like it. When you make that decision, you begin to shape your identity. When you make the decision to become a person of discipline, you start to see yourself differently. You stop seeing yourself as someone who procrastinates, someone who waits for the right moment or the right feeling. Instead, you see yourself as someone who gets things done, regardless of how they feel. This shift in identity is what sets successful people apart from those who struggle. One of the keys to becoming the person who does the work no matter what is reprogramming your mind. You have to stop thinking of discipline as something external, something that requires constant willpower. Instead, you have to make discipline part of your internal dialogue. You have to believe that you are the kind of person who does the work, who follows through, who doesn't quit. This belief becomes the foundation of your actions. It shapes the way you think, the way you approach challenges, and the way you view yourself. It's also important to surround yourself with people who reinforce this identity. If you hang out with people who make excuses, who are always looking for shortcuts, or who constantly put things off, you will struggle to build the discipline you need. But when you surround yourself with people who value hard work, who push through adversity, and who take responsibility for their actions, you begin to adopt their mindset. You start to think like they do. You start to do what they do. The people you surround yourself with will shape who you become. Remember, success is not about waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect feeling. It's about doing what needs to be done, no matter how you feel. If you're waiting for motivation to strike before you take action, you'll be waiting forever. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. But when you build the identity of someone who does the work, no matter what, you don't need motivation. You have discipline, and discipline never wavers. Another key aspect of building this identity is learning to manage your time effectively. When you're disciplined, you don't waste time. You don't procrastinate or get distracted by things that don't move you closer to your goals. You're intentional with your time. You set priorities and you focus on what matters most. Time management is not about squeezing in as many tasks as possible. It's about being strategic and focused. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes to operate with discipline and purpose. There will be moments when you'll question yourself. There will be days when you feel like giving up. But that's where your identity will carry you through. When you've built the habit of doing the work, even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, you'll find yourself rising above those moments of doubt. You won't let your emotions dictate your actions. Instead, you'll rely on the identity you've built, the person who does the work, no matter what. The beauty of this process is that once you've made discipline a part of who you are, it becomes second nature. It's no longer a struggle to push through. It's no longer a battle to stay motivated. You've built a life where doing the work is just part of the routine. And the more you do the work, the more momentum you build and the more success you create. You become unstoppable. You don't have to be perfect to build this identity. You don't have to get everything right all the time. The key is consistency. It's about showing up day after day, doing the work, and committing to your goals. Over time, your identity shifts. You stop seeing yourself as someone who struggles to get things done, and you start seeing yourself as someone who consistently takes action, no matter what, and that's when everything changes. Building the identity of someone who does the work is the key to long-term success. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling, or the perfect circumstances. It's about becoming the person who does what needs to be done, even when it's hard. And once you make that decision, you will find that success isn't something you chase, it's something that naturally follows you. Because when you become the person who does the work, as we wrap up this journey together, I want you to remember one thing. You have the power to shape your life. The work is not always glamorous, and the path is not always easy. But it is in those moments of discomfort, when you push through despite your feelings, that you will find your true strength. That's where the real growth happens. You don't need to wait for motivation. You don't need to wait for the right moment. You need to decide right now that you will be the person who shows up and does the work no matter how you feel. Discipline, consistency, and a commitment to doing what needs to be done, that's what will create the life you desire. So ask yourself today, who do you want to become? The person who waits for motivation, or the person who does the work no matter what? The choice is yours. And remember, the life you want is built one day, one action, one decision at a time. Now, go out there and show up. Because the person you become and the success that follows starts with the decision you make right now. Take action, stay disciplined, and never forget that you are in control. Success is not an accident, it's a choice. And that choice is yours. Thank you for watching. Now let's get to work.